Hello and welcome back to Small Talk. We have got another awesome episode ahead as we talk to a pair from Marywood. I'm your host, Katie Mucci. Each week on this show, we highlight the past and present of Division III, with both current and former student athletes joining to talk about their experiences, their favorite on-campus spots, the craziest road trip stories, and more. This week, we're chatting with Corrin Hasty, a member of the field hockey team, alongside a former member of the program, Sara Sterchak. The two talk about crazy bus rides, their international trips with the team, why they love their Division III experience, and more. Thanks for joining this week. Now it's time for some small talk.
Hi, my name's Corrin Hasty, and I'm a current senior on the field hockey team at Marywood University.
And I'm Sara Sterchak, and I'm a former Marywood field hockey player, and I am now currently working in Old City, Philadelphia as an architectural designer.
Well, thank you both so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time. I'm excited to hear about Marywood field hockey. I was talking to a couple field hockey people earlier this week when we were recording, and we've only done like one or two field hockey episodes this whole year of 50. So I'm very excited to have another field hockey episode to put out. First, we will start on campus. So I'll start with you, Corrin. When you think about you and your teammates are hanging out, best spots around campus, what are some of those favorite places you guys go? Is it like a quad, a student center? What are some of those? And then Sara, follow up and let me know if that's changed from your days.
So probably the learning commons. That's where me and my friends usually go to hang out. We'll like rent out a study room and hang out for a few hours there. Usually at night, doing homework, getting a coffee, whatever. That's definitely the top spot for me.
Yeah, I would say the same. For me, for the most part, we would go in there. Sometimes I don't know how much studying versus just chatting and hanging out. There would be there was always a mix. But I would also say that for me, it was also the architecture building, because when I was there working late, my teammates were the best, and they would sometimes bring me dinner and we would share like a meal there when I was, having a later night. So we definitely hung out in the art building as well, which was fun because there's bleacher seats there in the building. So it's like a great open space and a great building. So I really enjoyed that and was very thankful to them for helping me out with some dinner.
That is so nice. I love that.
Yeah.
Now just thinking about the community, so Scranton in general, I suppose. What are some of those like best local restaurants, coffee shops to go out to? And Sara, you can start this one and then we'll go. Corrin, you can follow up and let me know if you have similar ones.
Oh my gosh, we definitely had our fair share of places that we would go out to, but my favorite was Ale Mary's, which they just had always these like this rotating menu that we love to go out to. Um, and yeah, just anywhere downtown. But honestly, it's not always there, but the Italian festival each year, that was always a huge hit and very memorable, because that happened, early on in the school year and the season. So that's some place that my teammates and I would always go.
Yeah, I love Ale Mary's also. I definitely have been there my fair share of times. That's one of the best places around. And then like study spots, I really like Zumos. I don't know if you went there at all, but it's like walking distance from campus, so it's super nice. Little cafe. So I'm usually there at least once a week with friends, teammates, all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
I gotta give Henry's on Clay a shout out too.
yeah.
That is the breakfast spot for sure.
Yes, it's so good there. Yeah, that one I don't go as much because they're not open on Sundays. So I always go to Zumos like Sundays, like the night, like the morning after a game. But Henry's on Clay isn't open on Sundays. So I'm like always going to Zumos because we have
Yeah.
Saturday games. But yeah, so good. They have those like hash brown things. I don't know if,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Very, very familiar with those.
yeah. Yeah, and Italian Fest too. That's been a staple since my freshman year because it's usually over Labor Day weekend. So I'm usually there with the team or a couple friends. So
I guess a breakfast place not being open on a Sunday is brutal.
yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, now I have a whole list of places to visit if I ever drive through Scranton. Now let's talk about on the road. So traveling. One thing I always laugh about when I do these is Division III, you're not getting that cross-country plane travel all season long. It is a bit more condensed, especially if you're a team up in the Northeast. You have a lot of teams near you that you can probably hop in a bus and drive to. But we'll start with you, Sarah, on this one. And you're not that far removed from your college experience. So you might not have too many changes like we do in some of our other episodes. But when you were traveling, was it charter bus, coaches driving vans? What was the travel situation?
Yeah, it was a mix. There was the charter bus, and some for the closer games, the coaches would drive. And honestly, the vans were such an iconic part of going to games because we would, be able to be on the aux then. And I don't know, it just gave like a different energy whenever we did that and the coaches were driving. Like it was always just fun to see Coach Julie or Coach Kate driving the buses. Like it was just fun. And but on the charter buses, they had their moments of fun as well. But I'm just I don't know about you, Corinne, but our team, we were obsessed with Squishmallows, like the pillow, and everybody had them, and we all used them like to sleep on the bus and everything, and it was just like a staple of like the road trip on the bus to games was taking a nap with your Squishmallow. So we were definitely obsessed with that and had some good naps on the buses.
Yeah, there's a lot of girls on the team that still have them. Yeah, everybody has like their individual one, and whose is whose and whose has been around for far too long. But I wrote
100%.
down when I was prepping for this, I wrote down the same thing that like when we do take the vans, it's just such an iconic experience to be like, okay, Coach Kate and Coach Julie are driving. We're gonna like hold on for dear life and play our music and hopefully don't crash on the way there. But it's no, I love it. It is like you're kind of crammed in there and it's not 100% ideal, but like because it's such a short trip, they're so much fun to play our own music and the coaches are singing along. Like it's a total experience there.
Yeah, and I think it's like a bonding thing to be like so close and like I don't know, there's always somebody taking a picture of somebody sleeping or I don't know, something like that. Like it's
Yeah, for
always just
sure.
fun.
We took them to, did you do the Vassar tournament?
Hmm.
You were there. Yeah, we took the vans there. I think the past 2 years. And so that's like 2 hours in a van. And oh my gosh, just so much fun. It's just like, I mean, it's like a road trip. It's a little different than being on the bus. I really like it.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, since you cannot get in trouble for answering this question, I'll ask you, is there a coach you did not want to be in their car when they were driving?
Oh, honestly, no.
Okay,
I
good.
no, I love our coaches and yeah, Coach Kate and Coach Julie are just awesome and they're just so much fun. I feel so thankful to have had them as coaches. So I felt safe. Well,
Good.
sometimes there'd be like a oh kind of moment, but to be expected. It'd be the same if I were driving. So
For sure. That's good. I'm glad no one had too much of a lead foot or anything like
yeah,
that.
Yeah, no, they're
not that
both
I
great drivers.
yeah, not that I remember. I would tell you, but it was
Yeah.
nothing comes to mind
It
at the
couldn't have been too
moment.
bad then if you don't remember it. It's only been a
Yeah,
few years. So
yeah.
awesome. So now let's think you did have a couple trips, especially Corinne and Sarah, you might have had the same thing, a little bit farther than the Northeastern United States. So when you think back to an international trip or just a different trip that maybe is a bit farther, um, what was some of your favorite experiences there? And Corinne, I'll have you start since you definitely have an international trip recently.
Yeah, so last summer we went to the Netherlands, France, and Germany, and we played, I think it was 3 games. We had a day of like a practice and clinic, and then the rest was just all like touristy and travel stuff. And oh my gosh, it was just so amazing to be able to experience that with so many of my teammates and coaches. And we did have some parents come along too. Um, I mean, things like being able to be on the top of the Eiffel Tower with your team is just like the most incredible experience. Um, Traveling internationally with so many people surprisingly went very smoothly. And we had an awesome tour guide while we were over there, and it was just an incredible experience. We got to meet, I think it was 4 of our incoming freshmen. They weren't able to play with us, but to be able to have them go on the trip with us and meet them before preseason even started was also awesome. It just, secures that bond and that level of friendship on a different way that really can't be replicated without that kind of travel. So that was just such an amazing experience.
Sarah, how about you during your years? Any trips that stand out?
Yeah, we also got to do an abroad trip to Italy, which I believe is the first one that the program did. So I'm really happy you got to go, Corinne, and do the same, because I echo everything that you said. Like it was just so amazing to be there in such a beautiful and historic country, and then play field hockey with people that against teams that were very competitive and just kind of had like a different style of play than we're typically faced with. Um, and I just feel like it was an unforgettable experience with the team. Like it just, everyone, you come back after that and you just shared something so great of an experience that it just makes you so much closer. And my one of my favorite memories, speaking of being on the road and maybe some road or food options of what you might get on the road, we had a cookout with the team. I don't know if you did this with anybody that you faced off with, Corinne, but we had a tailgate after, and I just remember like getting off the field, like, I don't know, just knowing that I was in Italy and having this tailgate, and it was like the most amazing food ever. And I literally think about that meal very often. It was like this awesome, like Italian bread with sausage on it, grilled. It was just amazing. And I really want to recreate that meal. But I don't know, just all of that, all of the components. And then we started to chat with the team after.
We did a really similar thing. I believe it was in Germany. And so we had like a cookout with the team afterwards, and the meal was like the craziest thing. I don't know if you guys have seen like where people like cover their tables in like tinfoil and just like dump all the food on. I don't on like TikTok or anything like
Yes.
Yeah.
that. I guess they call it a fry table there, and it's just all sorts of fried food. So they had like French fries, chicken, sausage, croquettes, like literally anything fried you can think of. It was on that table, and it was like totally unexpected and crazy, but it was so good. Like some really like hearty food after a long game. So that was really, really fun as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. It was actually the Italy trip was kind of like a taste of Italy for me, because then I went on to study abroad there. Um, I believe just the year after. So it was nice to see it in that way and get um just a little bit familiar with the areas, and then we visited Florence, which is where a lot of the architecture program at Marywood studies abroad. So that was cool too, um, to get that feel for it.
Did you know when you were there for the team that you were going to study abroad in Italy, or was it a
Yeah.
choice? Okay.
Yeah. So it was um, basically something that, like as you go in your freshman year, that there's an option to do that in your junior year, I believe. Um, or spring, yeah, junior year in the spring. Um, so uh, it it was really great. It was a like studying abroad experience was awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody that can to fit it in with season if they can in the spring.
Yeah, I agree. I studied abroad in Spain last spring, and it was the most incredible experience. It was a little bit different because I'm a criminal justice major, so we don't have like a program like architecture does, where it's you're going with other students. So I was the only student from Marywood in Spain, so that was definitely a little nerve-wracking. Where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anyone in this country, anyone at my school. But oh my, I agree, it was just like such an incredible experience. I would recommend it to anybody, and Marywood does a good job making it accessible to any and all majors. So that's really nice.
Yeah, and also on top of that, I feel like Coach Julie and Coach Kate were so like, yes, go do this, like enjoy, and we will get right back to it then in the summer and preseason and everything. So it was no issue to just take that opportunity to go.
Yeah, agreed.
Awesome. Well, now we'll bring the conversation back to campus a little bit. So, when you guys were in high school and kind of deciding what college you were going to go to, and obviously field hockey probably played a big part of that of choosing Marywood, but when it came down to it, like maybe what were some of those things about Marywood as a college that really drew you there? And Corrin, I'll have you start.
So I looked at a lot of D3 schools throughout the Northeast, and I don't know, just nothing felt 100% right. There were a lot of really good options with amazing programs and amazing coaches, but and I was told this that like once I knew what college I wanted to go to, I would know. And when I went to Marywood for my first tour, it was late. It was in the fall going into my senior year. And I got to campus and I was like, this is it. This is where I want to go. Um, just beautiful campus, lots of friendly people welcoming you there. And I love the area. I'm from Maine, so I'm 6 hours from home, and it felt right as soon as I got onto campus. Marywood also has a 5-year master's program for criminal justice, so that was a huge draw. I was like, okay, so I can get my master's in 5 years. I can play field hockey, and I really like this campus. So there's not another option. This is where I'm going to go. And Coach Julie and Coach Kate really sealed the deal. They really did a great job welcoming me and my family onto campus, and just the vibe that Coach Julie gave off, I could tell that it was going to be a really good fit and that this is where I wanted to spend my time.
And Sarah, how about for you?
Yeah, for me, my mom actually went to Marywood, and I never like that never crossed my mind. I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't think that that's where I would go, or I don't know. But then, doing the search of, accredited architecture degrees and Division III field hockey, and Marywood's name popped up, I was like, what are the chances that, the school that my mom went to? I just thought it was, a small school. Right outside of Scranton. I never would have thought that they would have had the accredited architecture degree, which being at a liberal arts school is great with that degree because you get such a well-rounded education. And at a lot of schools, um, it's so course heavy of architecture that I don't think there's often times to fit in those other types of classes within your curriculum because it's the class load for architecture is usually pretty heavy with the studio. So that was really enticing to me to see that. And then once I went and visited, same, I was like, okay, yep, this is definitely it. Like, I don't need to look anywhere else. I don't need to apply anywhere else. Like, this is where I want to go. And all those things just fit perfectly for what I was looking for. And on top of that, I have family up in Northeast PA. So it just felt like, it was still like it was far enough from my home, but still connected to my greater family network.
Very cool. Now we're gonna get to some story time. So the first thing I want to hear from both of you is your funniest or craziest but appropriate story. So we'll flip the order again. Sarah, you can start this one out.
I was thinking a lot about this question, and um, I don't know, there's too many funny moments and to count really, and a lot that I cherish a lot of those moments that I had with my team and with the coaches. But I would just say, like, in general, it's not like one specific story or that's funny or crazy, I guess, but just the atmosphere was always just so infectious before games. We would just do these condo lines around the trainer's room, and it was just like the best way I can describe it. And like like I said, it's not one particular moment, but I know we just shared so many laughs before games. It's like we were seriously like, it was just like orientation before every game. We were like doing these group games, these icebreaker type activities all the time. Like, and we were just all so sold on and bought into kind of acting like that before games that it just made it such a fun thing. Like we would often just all sit on our little lockers and um do like these like hand games and like chants and whatnot. I don't know. So it might not be like one specific memory, but that kind of brings a smile to my face every time I think about that.
I love that.
Do you have that same type of like vibe
Yeah.
before games?
Yeah, so that wasn't the story. I was going to go more of a specific story, which I'll tell that after. But yeah, very similar vibes, everybody dancing, just like making up silly, stupid games. Like somebody, for some reason, had a bouncy ball in their field hockey bag last season. And that bouncy ball became like a staple of our locker room. And we would like kick it around, play with it before games. It was like the silliest thing, but like it was so much fun and it kind of got everybody involved because not everybody's a dancer, not everybody wants to do that, which a lot of us do, but some people don't. So we would just kick around that bouncy ball before our games and like everybody was getting involved. I don't know, just like silly, stupid thing. But yeah, conga lines happen around the locker room quite a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, lots of
I'm
good.
happy to hear that. And
Yeah.
also the bouncy ball story like brings up something for me is we used to go around like at the field while we were doing um like our warm up mile. Do you still do that?
What is it?
Oh, like a mile run for warm up.
No.
Okay. So we would do that and it would be like, it's a slow burn type of mile, it wasn't anything just like to get the legs warmed up. But we would like pass this fish around and we would like pretend that the fish is in our hand like this and like we would pass it and then someone would catch the fish. So we had a similar game um of passing this imaginary fish around. But what is your crazy or funny story?
So last year we were going to Gwinnett for a conference game and it was pouring rain. It was horrible weather. And our normal bus company, I think they were all booked or something. So we ended up having this bus drive up from New York City to pick us up. And the bus gets there and it's like this tiny bus. It's all white, kind of looks like it came from a prison or something. Very bad. And we all get on the bus. Everyone has to share a seat because it's that small. And there's like no back compartment for anybody's stuff. So like all of our stuff is in our seat. And I'm sure you remember like those drives to Gwinnett are sneaky long, even though like it's only supposed to be 2 hours, but somehow it always ends up being more. And it was raining. The first thing we get on the bus, none of the windows will like shut all the way. So I'm like trying to do work on my laptop and it's like raining onto my laptop. I'm like, okay, this is not gonna work. And so that's happening. And then within like the first 10 minutes of the drive, the bus driver slams on the brakes and one of our captains, Grace, goes flying to the front of the bus because I guess she was like kind of like sitting outside of her seat.
Oh
And
my
Coach Julie
gosh.
like catches her like before she's like running into the driver and the windshield. And so we make it there. Everyone makes it there safe. And we get off, we play our game, we win, we get back on, and we're all dreading this bus ride home because it was pouring rain. We're all soaking wet. And we get on the bus and the doors won't close. We are stuck on the curb because I guess the way the doors open, they were like stuck on the curb, and we all had to get out so that he could close the doors, pull the bus away from the curb and open them again. So we're like, okay, we'll get back to Scranton eventually. We'll do this. So we get on the road finally, stop at Wawa. Did you guys get Wawa at all when you were?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like everyone's favorite.
Yeah, it was a
Like
treat
everybody
for
loves
sure.
Wawa. Yeah. So we got Wawa, which was awesome. And Coach Julie's asking the bus driver, you want something to eat? We'll grab something for you. All this man wants is a bundle of bananas. No real food, just a bundle of bananas. So we get back on the bus and he's eating his bananas. And eventually we make it home and it was fine. But it was just like the strangest experience. I don't know. It was just like this whole series of events with this crazy bus, odd bus driver, and rain on the bus. It was pretty funny. But luckily Coach Kate was not there because I don't think she would have liked that bus at all.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That sounds like something. And also of like, of course Coach Julie would catch your teammate. Like I just like that is so just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That she would have that like reflex to do
Yeah.
that.
I think she was probably texting Coach Kate the entire time, telling her what was going on. Because, I mean, Coach Kate, she would have been like, this is not okay.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm really confused about the bananas, though. That's what I'm stuck on is maybe his wife asked him to get some groceries and he didn't really want to stop later that night. So he's like, this is my in. I can get the bananas now.
Yeah.
Totally. That must have been it.
Awesome. So now let's think about just favorite memories. So something that from your time you hold near and dear to you. And we'll once again flip the order. So Corrin, you can go first here.
Probably the trip to the Netherlands, France, and Germany has been my favorite memory. Um, like I said before, just being able to travel with so many teammates was just such an amazing experience. And, um, having like a real sense of independence. You're in a country with all your friends and not your parents, and like getting able to experience new things, meet new people, and being able to like get to know the coaches on a different level outside of just field hockey was really amazing. Um, I think just everything we did while we were there was so amazing, and just you can't replicate that kind of memory and that kind of experience. That entire trip was definitely my favorite memory. I think a secondary one would be going to the championship game last season. We didn't win, but just having the opportunity to be there and really feel what it's all about, that pressure, you're sitting in the locker room, you have the official tags on your bag, like you're there. And I mean, just the nervousness and the excitement. And we spent 5 hours on a bus to Maryland. Like, we're doing this. That feeling is, you can't, like I said, like you can't replace that with anything else. And hoping to be back there again this year with a win this time. So
Oh yeah, you guys can do it.
yeah.
That actually brings me to my favorite memory is winning the conference championship my senior year. So let's do the same for you, like the same storybook ending. That would be awesome. But it was so great. I just felt like the team, like the energy was in the air the whole season. And I think that everyone was just like the memory, like my favorite memory is definitely the championship day, but that memory is really made up of the whole story of the whole preseason, the prep, all the practices. There was always something that everyone was just so intentional about being present at practice and working hard and just being there for each other. I think that was like the biggest thing. And it all paid off at the end for us. And like I'll never forget that feeling of like the first like time touching the ball of that game. Like oh my gosh, like it just like the first time you touch, like you're so nervous, and then finally you're just in the game, and you still think about like the stakes of the game, but then it's just like, well, you know what, we did the work, we prepared, we're here, and that's all we have to think about. um and just like that last moment, like I seriously could get choked up thinking about that. Like some I'm definitely very emotional when it comes to like thinking back about my time. um I feel happy because it's just like I loved it so much, and I just get the game, like that last goal. Like I seriously, like that was just like the favorite moment ever. And the team, all of us rushing um, to celebrate and everything, and just getting to run across the field with all of our parents cheering for us and everything, and all of that. That was just like the best memory. And I know you can get there, Corrin, and finish it off with your team this season. I'm so excited for you, like to have an opportunity to do that again.
Yeah, I think one big thing about our team, I don't know if you guys were like this, but we don't forget, like from year to year, like our conference games, we had a couple, like my freshman year and sophomore year, a couple losses that shouldn't have happened. And it's like, okay, this year's revenge tour and we're going to win. And I think that kind of lights a fire under us like nothing else. So I know that this year is going to be amazing. And like, as memorable as going to the conference championship was, it's hard to think about because we didn't win, but we have to learn from our mistakes, and I think that that loss is going to drive us way harder than an easy win would have.
100%. And I think that that mentality is the type that you need to have, and have it, power you. And also I think thinking about that like in each game, but also just like thinking about what it means to get out there together as a team will be really important, and just like bonding together over that, and really through the highs and the lows of the season. Oh my gosh, I'm like so jealous of you guys like still playing and everything like that. Just I don't know, I'm just so excited to see what how the season takes you guys, and yeah, looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be a really good one. My freshman class, I don't know if you know this, but I came in with, I think it was 20 recruits in the class of 2021 coming in.
So
And
many.
yeah, we have so many. And, we've lost some along the way, but we still have a really large core group in my senior class. So just being able to do this, especially with all of them and all the underclassmen that have really like invested in this program, it's going to be such an amazing experience. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that was the same for my class. It was, we came in hot freshman year, and then just like that slow burn all the way up to senior year really, really showed our connection together. So yeah, that's definitely a recipe setting you up for success. So that's great.
Well, I'm excited to watch this season now. I feel like I'm ready to watch you win a championship, Corinne. So we're going to start to wrap it up. I have a couple more just Division III kind of centric questions for you. So the first one, and you guys have already mentioned some really cool experiences you've had studying abroad, things like that. But what does it mean to you to be or to have been a D3 student athlete? And maybe that is getting to do an international semester or things, other clubs or things you might be involved in. So, Sara, I'll have you start this one, but what does it mean to you to have been a Division III student athlete?
Well, to me, what it meant was that I can continue to, do my sport that I love the most. A lot of schools um, really don't allow for sports and architecture degrees to coexist. And I think that it's really tough to work through that, but really that's what that allowed me to do, is to continue to really explore my new passion of architecture, as my career, but then also continue the passion that I've had for so many years of field hockey. So I really don't know how many schools and or divisions that really is able to happen. Um, I had gotten advice like really early on, like when I started to be interested in architecture, like that, you know, you you won't really be able to do that at a higher division level. So I I was just happy that, I was able to do both. And I think that it also just was a great segue into now, um, of just doing some like rec leagues or things like that, just like staying involved in field hockey. It's just been great. And I think that it was a great transition, from each stage of my life. So yeah, I'm really thankful to Division III for that opportunity to continue playing, the sport I love.
Corrin?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. And, I knew that playing at the D3 level would be a good balance between academics and then also being able to continue my athletic career. But I don't think I realized all the other opportunities I would have, to participate in clubs and activities. I mean, Marywood has so many different things. I'm part of a mentorship program involved with SAC, volunteering with campus ministry. There's so many more things that I'm not involved with that I could be. So I just think that like you don't get that kind of balance at higher divisions where you can focus on academics, other activities, and athletics. I think that being a D3 athlete has made me a more well-rounded person because I can do all those things and I'm not limited to just athletics and academics. So I'm extremely grateful for what Marywood has given me in that aspect. And I'm a little scared for when I graduate and I'm no longer a student athlete, gonna have to find like another way to like identify myself because I'm not going to be a D3 athlete anymore. But I think, like you said, rec leagues and that kind of stuff are going to be my best friends. And I still have field hockey.
Yeah, the involvement in clubs and things like that were huge. And also just I think there's just a general support from the Division III programs, like to do both. And when one takes priority, you know, whether that be field hockey or academics or clubs, volunteering, like everyone's supportive of that. And I think that it just is, like I mentioned, kind of about the liberal arts type of mentality of school, getting a taste of all these other things. I think that Division III really embodies that opportunity to do that.
So I have one last question, and you're gonna kind of have to pull out a crystal ball or just make some guesses or tell me your hopes. But we're 50 years down. This whole podcast is part of our 50th anniversary celebration. So 50 years have gone by. There are many more to come. So when you look at Division III, what do you see or what do you maybe hope to see for the future? And that can be field hockey specific or just general Division III athletics. So Corrin, I'll have you start this one and then Sara close it out.
I just hope that just D3 in general, like the message of it is spread to like prospective student athletes to realize that D3 is a great option and that you don't have to go D1 to continue your athletic career. I think that just spreading that message about how going to a D3 school allows you to become a more well-rounded individual, and pursue all of these different academic, athletic, extracurricular endeavors. I think just spreading that message and encouraging people to look at D3 and attend D3 schools is going to be huge, and just hoping for higher enrollments and that D3 continues to thrive in the future. It's such an amazing division, and I don't know, it's like no other, and I really think it's the best. So
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I just hope that, yeah, 50 years down the line, like it grows. It just continues to grow and people still like understand like this is a competitive division. It's not just like waking up and doing nothing and just showing up to the game. Like it's hard work. And it's, yeah, competitive, like I said. And I think that another thing is I hope that the media around Division 3 would increase, and showing games. Like there's just as much heart and skill being shown on the games at Division 3 as the other divisions, and even professional. Like I just feel like there's a lot to that Division 3 athletics, and specifically field hockey, offer as like great um, opportunities for people to kind of see that. And I think that everybody watches these like larger games, but I often find myself like really getting drawn towards the games that are, you know, in at Division 3, like high school, like these levels, because there's just so much heart on the line, and it's really fun to watch. And once you get kind of the exposure to the people on these teams, like you start to really care. So I just hope that there's exposure increases for Division 3 athletics, and that people can really start to hear the stories of the athletes. And because I think there are really complex stories, between athletics and academics. So yeah, that's definitely would be awesome to see down the road.
Well, that is a perfect way to end the podcast, because I agree with you there, Sarah. Thank you both so much for being here today. I appreciate you taking your time out, and had a great chat. And good luck this season, Corrin. I'm excited to see where you and your senior class take the team.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
To everyone listening, thanks for tuning into this episode of Small Talk. We post new episodes every week. To follow along with everything Division 3, you can find us on social media at NCAA D3 or NCAA DIII. Make sure to join the conversation with us all year long by using the hashtag DIII50. Have a great day, and we'll see you for some more Small Talk next week.